Hello everybody, I'm Evan Kamiko. 20 years of IUS TV continues right now. Each week, join myself and an expert line panel to dissect the latest sports news from some of the nation's most elite college programs here in Bloomington to the biggest stadiums and stages around the world. Stick around because we got a great show for you coming up on the Toss-Up. The NFL season is about to come to a conclusion, and that means one of my favorite shows of the year, the Super Bowl 57 show. Will the Eagles or the Chiefs win? What's up with the Kelce brothers, and who is the better quarterback? We'll talk about all of that and more with an awesome panel of Emma Watson, William Stewart, and Sam Brunsman. Guys, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you
for having us.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. All right, Emma, I'll start with you. You look at the Chiefs, you look at the Eagles. They're both the #1 seeds in the playoffs, but what surprises you most about these two teams?
I think it's the fact that they're here. When you look at the Eagles last year, they were 9-8. They had a little bit of a rocky season, and you saw a little bit of Jalen Hurts' potential overall, and then that just blossomed this season. They're 14-3. They're the #1 seed in the NFC. They've been dominant on all season, and they've been arguably the best team in the league this year. As for the Chiefs, I think that the Chiefs are always in contention for the Super Bowl. I think this year it's been who is really going to be the AFC champion out of the Bills, the Bengals, and the Chiefs. And I'm not surprised that they're here, but I'm surprised that they made it through the playoffs alive. They had the opportunity to stumble a little bit at Arrowhead in both the games against the Jaguars and against the Bengals, and I thought that ankle was finally going to give out. But they made it. They're here, and they get the opportunity to play for their second Lombardi.
And you talk about the difference in these two teams. There's no Tyreek Hill anymore, right, Will?
No,
he's gone.
No, there's not. And I mean, that's been a huge thing coming into this season. It was how are the Chiefs going to make up for this lack of production with the Chiefs? And Tyreek Hill's gone. He's over in Miami, and they had to face him week 1. And how are they going to hold up against that? Well, they've had no problems. It's almost been, seamless with this Chiefs team, which is the most impressive thing to me, and which speaks magnitudes to Andy Reid's just proficiency in his coaching ability. And you come into this, and which it's really the most surprising thing to me is how well they did actually make up for that production. They have Marquez Vandal-Scantling and Juju Smith-Schuster as their #1 and 2 wide receivers, and now Jerick McKinnon's almost become their wide receiver 3 out of the backfield, who's also helped this, which is weird enough, a top 10 rushing attack in the league, which has also been one of the biggest surprises to me about the Chiefs. And then with the Eagles, you said it best, is the player progression, such as Jalen Hurts in that offense. He's brought it to a whole new level. And how well Howie Roseman built this offense by trading for A.J. Brown. He brought in Devontae Smith, and this team has just been a juggernaut. So the Chiefs haven't really been the Eagles haven't been a surprise to me as much as the Chiefs really have been.
And both of these teams have been in the Super Bowl over the last 5 years. Sam, I'll get to you in a second. But if you really look at the Eagles, this is a team, you drafted Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson, who's now one of the best receivers in the league. And on top of that, Carson Wentz was gone. You bring in Nick Sirianni, a coach who we'll talk about in a little bit, who talked about his team as a, flower. That was like the roots were planting and they're going to spurt. And man, have they spurted. And here we are. It's late, February, early February, I should say, and we're talking about them. Sam, what about you? What do you think about these teams?
I just think how evenly matched they are. It made the perfect Super Bowl. Both same records, 14-3, 16-3, both in the playoffs. #1 seed. They both had the same amount of points scored offensively. I think it was 546 points for both offenses, and they both lead their conferences in sacks. Chiefs lead their conference, the AFC, Eagles in the NFC, and it's just a really well fit matchup for both these teams. Six Pro Bowlers for each team, including the Kelce brothers. So I think it's a really good matchup, and I'm excited to watch it.
We'll hear more about the Kelce brothers later. Ryan Canfield is going to be in studio. But for now, I kind of want to move a little bit forward. And you've talked about how deep these two teams are. Both arguably 1 and 2 offenses in the league, and both really surprising. The Chiefs have a really good defense. The Eagles have a really good defense. If it comes down to either the Chiefs' defense, the Eagles' defense, or the offenses, who is going to be more important in getting the win? Will, I'll start with you.
Well, in my opinion, it's both defenses. It's going to be who's going to be able to get that one stop. you talk about who can get a stop, who can finish the drive. It's going to be which defense can just finish a drive without allowing points. These are two of the best offenses, as Sam highlighted earlier. And there's going to be a high-scoring affair. People have said, oh, the script is leaked and it's high 30-point games, and everyone's predicting a high-scoring game.
Arian Foster.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about Arian Foster. He is just, I don't know what he's talking about with the script. But anyways, this has been, it's two of the most potent offenses in the league. It's going to be who can get that stop on defense. And with the Chiefs' somewhat injured secondary and injured linebacking core, I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. So I think they're the biggest factor in this game by far.
Emma?
I'm going to agree with him and talk more about the defenses, but not necessarily like who's going to get the most important stop, just who can stop the run. Because like Will pointed out, the Chiefs have a surprising rush attack surrounded by McKinnon in the backfield and also Isaiah Pacheco, who is a Swiss Army knife for the Chiefs.
Which is so funny because everyone's like, oh, it's Clyde, it's Clyde, it's
No.
Clyde. Like, he's going to be the guy. Like, Isaiah Pacheco, the Rutgers running back. Like,
I know,
can't believe
and
it.
as an Indiana fan, I've had to see too much of him the past couple of years, but I'm excited for him to get this Super Bowl start, and he's been phenomenal for the Chiefs these playoffs. But also, on the other side of the ball, with the Eagles, Boston Scott, who was a free agent last year, comes into the Eagles and has been amazing in the backfield. And both of these defenses, they like to play zone a lot. They don't like to play man because their corners are not as fast to keep up with these really, really speedy wide receivers. So they'll drop back into that zone, which allows these 4 to 5 man rushes to come in, but that leaves that whole middle of the field open for a really good rush attack. So if I'm the offensive coordinators for both teams, I got to establish that run early, because the first team to establish that run and be efficient, that's going to win you the Super Bowl.
and oh, by the way, Boston Scott, one of the best names in the NFL. Sam, what do you think?
I'm really excited to see the Chiefs' defensive line against the Eagles' offensive line. I think the Eagles have the best line in the league, and I'm just excited to see Chris Jones go up against that offensive line the Eagles got. The Chiefs, they are third in pressures to get to the quarterback and second in sacks this year. And I'm really just excited to see what Chris Jones can do against that offensive line. But I think at the end of the day, the offensive line for the Eagles will get it done. I think Miles Sanders, Boston Scott will get it done for the Eagles, and it'll just be a good battle in the trenches on that offensive line for both teams.
And need I remind you guys, the Eagles, they have a Christmas album from their offensive line that's really, really good. But I agree with you. I think that's the biggest thing, Christmas albums aside, is it's going to come down to the trenches. Football is a game that's won and lost in the trenches. If you have a great offensive line like the Eagles do, you can control that. You can control the running game. That's what opens up and that forces extra guys in the box so that the zone defense gets a little bit softer, and for, Hurts, who has the arm to get there. But let's talk about them. Let's talk about Hurts. Let's talk about Mahomes. Emma, I'll start with you. I wouldn't say who would you rather have, but who do you like more going to this matchup, Hurts or Mahomes?
Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts throughout this season has been able to not just read defenses really well, but steamroll through them. And I think that, especially in this run in the playoffs, he has had everything click for him. And I think that he's most likely going to be the most prepared quarterback. He has all of his weapons. They're able for him. And I also think that he has a chip on his shoulder, transferring from Alabama to Oklahoma, that not working out, him going to the Eagles, having to fight for that starting position. He gets the starting position last year, and it doesn't go as great for him. And now this year, he's showing everybody what he's made of. And now the Eagles are back in the Super Bowl, and they're just as rugged as the team from 2018. So I feel like Hurts, with his ability, if they can establish the run like I talked about before, that allows Jalen Hurts to do his thing, whether that's through the air or with his legs. And I think that if I'm a coach, I'm ready for him to show up on the biggest stage, and I'd put my trust in him.
And he's been there before. Got benched to the national championship for Tua Tagovailoa, but one of them can't really throw a ball 15 yards down the field. Sam, what do you think?
I'm going to go with Mahomes. I think his ability to play make when he's getting pressured, even injury aside, just him without injury, he's able to create plays that I've never seen before from a quarterback. And I think that he's going to show that in the Super Bowl. And Jalen Hurts, great quarterback, but 35 total touchdowns, 22 through the air, 13 through running. I think if the Chiefs can get to him, I think then he won't be able to do much against that Chiefs defense. And I think Mahomes, as Will was talking about earlier, Tyreek Hill departing, going to Miami. With the extra game, even though they've had the extra game this year, he's still thrown more touchdowns than he has with Tyreek Hill. in his time in Kansas City. So, I mean, I'm going to go with Mahomes just because he's a beast. I mean, I love watching him play, and he's a playmaker, and he gets the job done.
So when we talk about Mahomes, I want to switch up the question on you a little bit. What about his legacy, right? Like, everyone's saying, oh, Mahomes, he's the next Brady. He's going to be the one. If Mahomes doesn't win this game, does he take a step down in that, maybe greatest of all time quarterback tier?
I think you could for sure say that. I just don't think that you can really compare him to Brady right now. There's no one you're really ever going to be able to compare to Brady unless they're right there knocking at the door at 5. And obviously Mahomes, he's got 1 right now. He's on the verge of 2. So I don't know if his legacy is going to really take that much of a hit as people have talked about. It'll take a hit in the Brady debate for sure, but no one's really going to be able to stack with Tom Brady. That's going to be something we have to accept. Maybe one day that'll come like it has in the NBA with LeBron stacking up to Kareem just last night, but that's a completely different story. I think Mahomes' legacy is, right now, I think it's a guarantee he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, this kid is maybe the best quarterback talent-wise we've ever seen step foot into the league. And, I mean, I'll fight you on that, to my grave. I mean, I think Mahomes is genuinely the most talented quarterback I've ever seen in my life. The arm angles, the ability to just throw the ball, read a defense.
Wait for Justin Fields to get here next year.
Hey,
You keep thinking about it.
calm down over there.
I will.
Hey,
But you're saying
more power to you, honestly.
Yeah.
I've argued like that for Cam Newton, so I'm not going to blame you for that. But Mahomes is, I think his legacy is pretty cemented. He's one of the best quarterbacks to ever do it, and it's such a young point in his career, but I don't think he's going to take a step back. It's just that Brady debate, he might take a step back, and if he loses this.
And he changed the game, but that came with the help of a coach like Andy Reid and a system like Kansas City. And you look at these two coaches, Andy Reid, Nick Sirianni. When Reid was fired from Philadelphia, came on to Kansas City, Sirianni was the wide receiver coach, who's 31 years old, gets fired, doesn't get retained actually because David Culley came in. So these guys have been intertwined for the last 10 years. So I guess the question is, who would you rather have, Andy Reid or Nick Sirianni? Sam, I'll start with you.
I'm going to go with Andy Reid just because of his success that he's had with the Chiefs. I mean, obviously he was the Philly coach back in the day, but I still think that Reid, the Chiefs have made 5 straight AFC Championship games, 3 Super Bowls out of those 5. He's just a great coach. He develops his players very well, and I think that Andy Reid, he's the guy that you want to play for. And I think that I'd rather have him over Sirianni.
I think it would be stupid if I said anything other than Andy Reid, just because, like Sam was saying, with all of his successes within the past couple of years. But really what I like the most about him in this matchup is his ability to get creative. And he's had to do that with the loss of Tyreek Hill and with all of these injuries happening in the postseason. You've seen them get creative with jet sweeps and then relying on other wide receivers to maybe run routes that they're not really comfortable to run. But it works out in the end because it's the Chiefs and because it's Andy Reid. He's one of the best offensive minds in football right now. And so it would be a disgrace to not take him just because I feel like in this matchup, that's what the Chiefs are going to have to rely on. Not necessarily, Mahomes' magic or Travis Kelce finding holes in the zone. It's going to be, okay, what plays is he going to call on the sideline in order to match up against this record-breaking Eagles defense? And if it comes down to creativity, I'm picking Andy Reid every single time. So
Over the underdog? I like the underdog.
Over the underdog? You consider the Eagles the underdogs?
In one sense, absolutely. Think about it. Jalen Hurts, they're not supposed to be here right now. Like, many people were saying they're still a year away earlier in the preseason. I would still say the Eagles are the underdogs. The Chiefs have everything that they need. They know what this game's like. They've been in a Super Bowl before. Most of these players haven't, but the leadership has, the quarterback has. So I'd say the Eagles are the underdog. Will, Reid or Sirianni?
I think you have to take Reid. I mean, it's blatantly obvious, just like Emma said. It's almost disrespectful if I didn't choose Andy Reid right now. I spoke earlier on how I think he's done, he's got one of the best offensive schemes in football, if not the best offensive scheme. And it's no discredit to his defensive ability that he's had. I mean, he's coached defenses up. I mean, this is not the most talented defense that we've ever seen. There's been the comments the Chiefs defense can't really pull through. This is a top 10 defense still. They've stopped teams from scoring the ball. Their pass defense is semi-questionable. And when I say semi-questionable, it's bottom in the league. But I think Andy Reid's good enough of a coach that he's going to coach his team through it. And he's going to come up, I would almost believe that he's going to come up with more big plays on offense than Sirianni will, which these two teams have had the most big plays in football this season. But I think Reid's going to outcoach Sirianni. It's the master versus the student right now, and I think Reid's going to take it.
I don't know who's going to take it, but we're going to get our picks later on. So William, Emma, Sam, stick around because coming up after the break, Ryan Canfield comes in with more on the Brotherhood Bond of the Super Bowl. Then, like I said, it's our predictions. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Our Ryan Canfield joins us in studio with more on a Brotherhood Bond that goes further than the Super Bowl. Ryan?
Thanks, Evan. Hey, Hoosier Nation, it's Ryan Canfield here. This year's Super Bowl is stacked with noteworthy storylines, such as Andy Reid coaching against his former team, and this Super Bowl being the first to feature 2 African-American starting quarterbacks. But the one I will be touching on today is the story of the Kelce brothers. Both coming from the University of Cincinnati, Eagles center Jason Kelce and Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce will battle it out in the desert and divide from their roots. This story has been getting so much attention, NFL fans have created a petition for their mom, Donna Kelce, to flip the coin on the coin toss. She has since said on the podcast that they are both on that she will not be doing it, but that would have been pretty cool. Each with 1 ring currently. On Sunday, we will see which Kelce gets the upper hand. Evan, back to you.
Thanks, Ryan. We're back on the panel. William Stewart, Emma Watson, and Sam Brunsman. It's time to make predictions. And, you know, we can make typical predictions, who's going to have the better game, yada, 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 but those aren't fun. Everybody knows when you're home, Super Bowl prop bets. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make our own prop bets. So here we go. Rihanna's performing at halftime. William, I'm going to start with you. What song's she going to go first?
You know, I could have used one tonight because it's raining. An Umbrella. It's her biggest song. Emma said earlier, if she came out and sang Umbrella, it might tear the stadium down, which I wouldn't even doubt. Who doesn't know Umbrella? I mean, it's...
I hope it tears the stadium down. That'd be kind of lit.
Whoa.
What? Like, if everybody's like...
I got to finish the game.
Yeah, I'd like them to finish the game, but I'm just going to stop.
Part.
I've been in the doghouse this whole time.
Uh-huh.
It's been tough.
Has been tough. Yeah. No, I'm going to say this is what you came for, the Calvin Harris collaboration, because it is what I came for. It's why I'm watching. We've had a running joke here at IUS TV and like, what's your favorite Rihanna song? And when Rihanna announced that she was going to be performing at the Super Bowl, I about passed out. So I'm going to say this is what you came for. I feel like it's a stellar opening to what hopefully is going to be a really, really good halftime show.
Sam?
I'm going to go with Don't Stop the Music. I mean, that's one of her best songs in my opinion, and if she starts with that song, I mean, the whole crowd's just going to be electric. It's going to be an awesome atmosphere, and it'll just add to the game already because we're expecting a good Super Bowl, and I think if she comes out with that song, it'll just make for a great halftime show.
That's a good throwback. Great song. Same album as Umbrella, too. Anyway, I'm going to go with Stay, the song from, I believe, like 2014 with Mickey Yellow. I think, you know, Apple Music just did a big thing about that with the fans, so maybe they start out with that, and she's singing it live, and then we get the Umbrella and the classic throwbacks.
Can you sing it for us?
No, you don't want to hear me sing. It's bad enough that I've, like, messed up
That's
three
what I
times tonight.
came for.
Me singing?
Yeah.
Well, then you should have known better.
You were dancing earlier.
I
It
was
really
dancing
good.
earlier,
You
but
can
that doesn't
pair
mean I'm
that
going to dance
together.
right now.
Maybe
Well, you
you
were
can be the
dancing earlier too,
halftime
though.
show.
Yeah.
I always
I can't do
dance.
that.
I think we need a duo performance.
We can do that after.
You can stand under my umbrella.
Okay. Next
Anyway,
question.
There it is.
next prop bet, coin flip, heads or tails. Emma, we'll start with you. What's it going to land? You got 50-50 shot.
Tails.
Why? Because it never fails?
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
Tails never fails.
I'm also going with tails.
Heads, come on! Someone's got to do it. Someone's got to
No.
say heads.
Heads has won 4 of the last 5 times. I mean, I feel like it's going to switch up a little bit this time.
That's
You
an
were
impressive
counting?
stat to pull out.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Gatorade color. The head coach gets pointed with Gatorade. William, what's that color going to be?
I think I'm going to go with yellow.
I like yellow. I'll take orange.
Why?
Sam?
I'm going yellow.
You said, really?
I said, I'm going to say blue. I'm
Blue.
going to say blue.
Do they
Yellow's
pour blue?
gross.
Yeah, the last 2
There's
Super
blue,
Bowls have been
like,
blue.
yeah, the power blue
Sam's got
Gatorade.
so many stats right now.
Yeah,
I don't
what?
even know we're real. All right, closing down the show. We've talked some fun prop bets. Let's talk about the game. Sam, I'll start with you. Who's going to be your Super Bowl 57 MVP?
I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts. I mean, it's a quarterback's award. I mean, 31 quarterbacks have won the Super Bowl MVP. I think Hurts will get it done in the Super Bowl. I think Eagles run RPOs a lot, and I think that is really good in Hurts' system. And he's a runner, he's a passer, so that really helps him. I think Hurts will have a very good game, and I think he'll win the MVP.
William.
I think we're going to go with part of the monster backfield that the Eagles have, and I'm going to go with Boston Scott, actually. I think it's going to be one of those random breakout games in the Super Bowl. I think Boston Scott somehow is going to walk out of the MVP of the Super Bowl.
Give me Travis Kelce as MVP. It might not be the same as my Super Bowl pick, but that's going to be my MVP. Emma?
I was originally going to pick Travis Kelce.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
What? Oh my God.
Look at that. Look at that.
Co-director brain.
Right?
I was going
Great minds think
to
alike.
say Travis Kelce just because that Eagles defense, when they play in that zone, that's just for him.
Right.
And I feel like if I'm Patrick Mahomes, I feel like the Eagles are going to do a really good job of shutting down my elite wide receivers. So you go back to old reliable, which is Travis Kelce. But since you took my pick, I will go with the old reliable himself, Patrick Mahomes. I think this game is more of a redemption for him. And I think that with that extra week of rest and whatever drugs they put for his ankle, I think
A
that
lot of them?
a lot of them. I think that with the offensive scheme that we were talking about, the credits to Andy Reid, and just you play all 4 quarters, you let Patrick Mahomes play all 4 quarters, and he'll beat you, hurt ankle or not. So.
All right. I guess it's time. We're going to make some predictions. Super Bowl 57 winner, William, we'll start with you. Then we'll go Sam, and then Emma. I know you want to put the headgear on, so that's why we'll go you.
I'm doing my
last.
Lee Corso
See, I
impression.
wanted to do that, but it's okay. You can do it.
Emma.
William, we'll start with you. What do you got and why?
Now, I know
Emma does trump me.
I know I said Reed was going to outcoach Sirianni, but I think it's still Eagles fly all the way here. It's just a better team overall. I don't think they're going to be stopped.
Sam?
I'm also going to go with the Eagles. Birds. There we go. I'm going Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. I think the offensive line, defensive line of the Eagles, they're just too dominant, and I think the Eagles get it done.
All right.
Here's the headgear. Here we go.
Give me that helmet.
The Chiefs.
All right, let's see if I can put it on.
Oh,
Okay.
and it fits, too.
It does fit.
Can we
I have
get
a
a close?
really
Yeah,
small
there we
head.
go. There we go.
Why? I'm saying the Chiefs just because I said that Patrick Mahomes was going to have a really good game. I think that Travis Kelce and Isaiah Pacheco, they have not been stopped. Even though the Chiefs have looked a little bit shaky going up against, the formidable Jags, the underdogs, and then, of course, Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I think that this Eagles team is somebody that they can eventually break down. I think it's going to be close, but the Chiefs are going to pull it out because, of course, it's the Chiefs.
Can you see out of that?
No.
So it's just,
I really
it's just
can't.
dark right now.
Yeah.
All right, I'll change up my Super Bowl MVP because I do have the Eagles winning. But I'm going to go A.J. Brown. I think he's going to have a really big game. The Chiefs' cornerbacks are a bit undersized, and Hurts, like I said, if he can get a lot, more in the box, that leaves a lot of openings. So give me that Eagle helmet. Fly, Eagles, fly. My friends from Philly are all going to be really happy, and definitely send me this.
Can you even put that on?
Can I? Yes.
Yeah.
And we're going to see if I can read the teleprompter. That does it for the show this week. Be sure to continue the discussion and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at IUSTV Sports. With that, there's one thing left to do. So toss it up. Find out if we'll catch it.
Ooh.
And we'll see you next week.